Chopping news at 11. Chopping news at 11. Turning to breaking news in the Middle East. The Associated Press and Reuters report that Iran's Revolutionary Guard has seized a commercial oil tanker in the strategic Strait of Hormuz. According to a U.S. defense official, the Marshall Islands flagged vessel, identified as the Talera, was intercepted by 3 small Iranian boats and forced to divert into Iranian territorial waters. The Associated Press reports that more than 500 of the world's top economists and inequality experts have signed an open letter urging world leaders to create a new international panel on inequality. The call comes ahead of the G1 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. Out of Russia, the Moscow Times reports that a court has sentenced prominent exiled journalist and YouTuber Yuri Dud to nearly 2 years in prison. The sentence of 1 year and 10 months was handed down in absentia by Moscow's Basmany District Court. In Canadian news, CBC and the Canadian Press report that the Ontario government is threatening to take control of the province's real estate regulator. The move follows a scathing audit into the regulator's handling of a major scandal at iPro Realty, a brokerage that collapsed with an estimated 10 times million missing from its trust accounts. From Atlanta, the Associated Press and CBS News are reporting that Georgia's stalled 2020 election interference case has a new prosecutor. The appointment comes after former District Attorney Fani Willis was disqualified by an appeals court, according to a statement. Skandalakis appointed himself after several other prosecutors declined to take the high-profile case. In Washington, the Pentagon has announced that the U.S. State Department approved a potential $330 million military sale to Taiwan. According to Reuters, the sale is not for new weapons, but for spare and repair parts, along with technical support for Taiwan's existing aircraft fleet. In New York, attorneys for Luigi Mangione, the man accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, are challenging a key statement attributed to his mother. According to WBAL News, Mangione's defense team has filed a motion demanding proof that his mother ever told police the killing was, quote, something she could see him doing. The defense argues that prosecutors have provided no evidence to substantiate this remark, which was repeated by the NYPD's chief of detectives. They are calling the statement highly prejudicial and unconscionable if false, and are asking the judge to intervene over the prosecution's discovery obligations. Mangione has pleaded not guilty. In Washington, Senator Lindsey Graham says he definitely plans to sue the Department of Justice. According to CBS News, the move comes after a new provision was included in a recent government funding bill. That provision allows senators whose phone records were seized without notification to sue the federal government for $500,000 per violation. In defense news, U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth has formally announced a new military mission named Operation Southern Spirit. According to reports from the Associated Press and the Washington Examiner, Hegseth stated the operation was ordered by President Trump to remove narco-terrorists from our hemisphere. For American industry, the Associated Press reports that shareholders for both Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern have voted to approve a landmark $85 billion merger. The move paves the way for the creation of the first truly transcontinental railroad in the United States, combining Union Pacific's vast network in the west with Norfolk Southern's extensive tracks in the east. In pharmaceutical news, Reuters and the Wall Street Journal report that Merck is acquiring biotech firm Sedera Therapeutics in a $992 billion all-cash deal. The acquisition gives Merck control of a highly anticipated late-stage experimental drug called CD388888. Wall Street stocks are taking the beating, beating for a second straight day, as investor hopes for another interest rate cut have been dashed. According to Reuters and the Associated Press, the sell-off being born after several Federal Reserve officials made suggesting they are hesitant to cut rates again at the December meeting. In labor news, New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is calling for a public boycott of Starbucks. According to media reports, Mamdani is asking consumers to join him in supporting a massive strike by the Starbucks Workers United Union. In a statement posted online, Mamdani used the slogan, "No contract, no coffee." In a report released Thursday, Anthropic said it has high confidence a Chinese state-sponsored group manipulated its AI model, Claude, to conduct attacks. The company says the hackers used the AI to automate between 80 and 90% of their operation, targeting roughly 30 global organizations in the tech, finance, and government sectors, and succeeding in a small number of cases. Cybersecurity. The FBI has issued a joint advisory with CISA, warning that the Akira ransomware gang has claimed over $244 million in ransom payments. According to the updated alert, the group has been active since March 2023, primarily targeting small and medium-sized businesses.
The agencies report that Akira actors gain initial access by exploiting vulnerabilities in VPN service, especially those without multi-factor authentication. In the tech world, a dose of reality is coming from AI leaders themselves. CNBC and American Bazaar report that several top tech executives are openly worried that the industry is forming a speculative bubble. Speaking at the Web Summit in Lisbon, Depot CEO Jared Kudilowski said he believes valuations are pretty exaggerated and there are signs of a bubble on the horizon. The admissions add to a growing chorus, including from OpenAI's Sam Altman, that investor excitement may be outpacing the technology's real-world business results. In climate news, scientists are issuing a dire warning about a vital conveyor belt in the Atlantic Ocean, according to a study in the journal Science Advances. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or EMOC, is heading toward a tipping point and could collapse. Researchers warn that a shutdown of this current, which brings warm water north, would trigger an abrupt climate shift. This could plunge parts of Europe into a mini ice age with dramatically colder winters, alter global rainfall patterns, and accelerate sea level rise on the US East Coast. In a major paleontological discovery, new research is appending what we know about the worst mass extinction in Earth's history. According to a new study in the journal Science, a massive trove of 30,000 fossils found on the Arctic island of Spitsbergen reveals that complex ocean ecosystems recovered far faster than previously thought.
A new study in the journal Science is rewriting the history of man's best friend. Now key to root is researchers analyzing hundreds of ancient skulls have found that the wide diversity of dog shapes and sizes is not a recent development.
The team discovered that this diversification began at least 11,000 years ago, around the end of the last ice age. This finding challenges the long-held belief that most dog breeds were created in the last few centuries. The study found that by the Neolithic period, ancient dogs already showed about half the range of skull diversity seen in modern breeds, long before the advent of formal breeding. Drop the news at 11. Drop the news at 11. Drop the news at 11. Drop the news at 11.